Hello and welcome to another episode of Prime 50 TV. Again, I'm here with Dr. Max. How you doing?
Good to see you again, Chris.
Nice to see you. This week we're still talking about strong bones, but we're going to pick up on why the over 50s in particular should supplement. So why have you targeted the over 50s with your products?
That's a good point. Supplementation, I think, in the health profession is seen as something which is not really necessary. I totally disagree, and I feel very passionate about that. When we initially decided to start Prime 50, what we did was we went right back to the very basic data. Being an ex-scientist, the only thing I'm interested in is facts and real data, not the nonsense you find on Google and the Daily Rag, etc. So I went right back to scratch, and we analysed what's called the food intake, diet and nutrition surveys from around the world, the US, NHANES, the UK, NDNS, all the countries in Europe, etc., etc. And I found, much to my horror, that the vast majority of over 50s and beyond were really quite deficient in many micronutrients, and I mean vitamins and minerals. And if you're deficient in those micronutrients, later in life that can give rise to some chronic ailments and maybe even chronic disease. I'm not trying to scaremonger, but it's really important that people do have the right nutrition.
Is there anything I should start, or the over 50s should start looking at within themselves? Is there anything that they should be, that they're going to be feeling which makes them realise they need to supplement? Now, I'm a bit off 50, so is there anything that even at my age I should start thinking about?
Yeah, there's the three bits to the triangle of health and wellness. The sleep, which we're not talking about. There's also exercise, which is the silver bullet. That is the most important thing we can do, especially as we age. And then, of course, there is nutrition itself. We need to feed the body, feed the machine with the right nutrition. Otherwise, the machine is not going to behave particularly well.
Right, because you've got a range of products, haven't you? And we've got fatigue as well. So that one's clear, that if you're feeling tired, the fatigue fits well with that. Strong bones. I know strong bones works well if you've got issues with osteoporosis. And we've got a graph that shows that.
Yes, if you look at the graph, it's very clear that if you look at the female line on the graph, which is the red line, along the bottom there's age, along the vertical axis there's strength of the bones, or bone strength, bone density, whatever you want to call it. You can see that the average female, and indeed male, has maximum bone strength at around 30 years old. Then, unfortunately, it's a little bit downhill after that, which is a bit of a shame. But the real problem, especially with females, is the menopause, where the estrogen tends to be much lower, and you start to lose muscle mass, you start to lose bone mass. That's when the equilibrium between bone forming and bone loss goes a little bit skew-whiff, and you get a lot more bone loss. So there was a massive drop at around 50, 55 during the menopause, and you can lose 25-30% of your bone density, bone strength, if you're not careful. So that is osteoporosis, but it's just a normal part of aging as well. Some people will get it a lot worse than others, but it is important to protect that loss of bone or potential loss of bone as we age.
Because that goes on to the next slide, which actually shows a normal bone and one with osteoporosis.
Yes. If you look at this slide here, you can see on the left-hand side, this is a hip joint, for example. You can see the femur there at the top of the femur. In the hip joint. On the left-hand side, you can see the bone is composed of lots of little holes. The holes are sort of full of protein, and the rest of the bone mass is actually calcium, it's phosphate, and there's a whole stack of other minerals like magnesium, zinc, etc. So there's a really strong matrix held together by that collagen protein. If you look at the right-hand side, you can see much bigger holes. And they are literally holes, the calcium, the phosphorus, the hydroxyapatite, to be scientifically correct. That structure has started to crumble, started to disappear, and the bone will be much more prone to fracture. If you look at some of the data from the National Osteoporosis website, they will say that about 50% of women over 50 will get osteoporosis, some worse than others, obviously. And that will give rise to about 300,000 fragility fractures. And a third of those go on to hip fractures. Some people will just get off a chair, and if they've got osteoporosis, they could break a hip just getting up, for example. You don't have to fall and have a trauma to break a hip. Sometimes just standing can break that hip if it's just about to go.
Now, supplements can't reverse the damage already done, but obviously they help a great deal, and I believe that yours can actually help prevent falls. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. We have 4 times the level, 4 times the RDA, the recommended level, the recommended daily allowance for vitamin D in the product, plus about 1/4 of the RDA in calcium, and we also have a bunch of other, or a stack of other micronutrients and minerals, which are all designed to help bone strength and bone density. By adding 4 times the RDA of vitamin D, we have the health claim, and health claims are very tightly scrutinized. You can't put anything on the pack unless it's been through the regulatory authorities. We actually make the health claim helps prevent falls in the over 60s. Now, if you're over 60, 65, 70, that is a very good thing to have, because you do not want to fall as you get older. If you look at the statistics of people who have fallen, about 25% of people who fall and have a hip fracture later in life never regain their former level of independence. And about just under 30% of those people will not live past a year. It's a horrible statistic, but the bottom line is, do look after your bone strength. You can't feel it, it's invisible, but we do need to make sure we get enough minerals, calcium, zinc, manganese. We need to make sure we get enough vitamin D, etc., etc.
Because I think that's what's unique about your product, isn't it? It's backed up by science. It's within government regulation.
Yes. Yeah.
And it is targeting the over 50. So none of this multivitamin stuff that targets everyone. It's actually been formulated for the over 50s.
Yeah, that's a good point. With the Prime 50 products, they are special targeted products. I think that was a really good word that you used. Targeted means that we've decided that this is an important area to look after for the over 50s, 60s, 70s and beyond. Bone health is one. We have one which fights fatigue. That's a massive seller. We have one which looks after muscle, because we lose muscle as we get older. We've also got a product to look after joints, healthy joints it's called, because all of those areas are critical to musculoskeletal health. Musculoskeletal health is the ability to keep walking, to stay active, which is probably the most important thing we should do as we get a bit older.
Brilliant. And finally, let's talk a bit about what I find very unique with your products, and that's the healthy aging blend that's within them.
Yes. So this Prime 50 Strong Bones is targeted for strong bones, absolutely. But in addition to that, we have this rather special patented healthy aging blend which is being added on top. Now, every time any customer uses any Prime 50 product, strong bones, fighting fatigue, muscle, joints, they will always benefit from this very specially formulated, patented healthy aging blend. What is it? It's basically a combination of micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, etc., which I know that the over 50s will be lacking, and if they're lacking those, they'll get into trouble. A couple of examples. Chromium, nothing to do with bones, but we've added chromium to help sugar management. We know that a lot of people over 50 will be diabetic or perhaps pre-diabetic. They don't know about it. They need chromium. That's really important for sugar management, glucose management in the blood. So we've added chromium, nothing to do with bones. Take vitamin B12, nothing to do with bones. B6, nothing to do with bones. Folic acid, same thing. But that is a trio combination of B12, B6 and folic acid to make sure that the blood homocysteine level stays reasonably low. It's a bit technical, but be aware that as we get older, we have homocysteine building up in the blood. It's a nasty toxic material.
Yeah.
We all know that we get a little bit more as we get older. But you need to have those 3 key vitamins, the B vitamins, to make sure that homocysteine is controlled. So again, if you've got massive levels of homocysteine in the blood, we know that that's connected with heart disease later in life. We don't want to go there. Let's do other things to protect the over 50s. We also have bioperin in there. That's part of the healthy aging blend. We know that the aging gut is not very good at absorbing minerals and vitamins, micronutrients. So we thought, well, how can we help that? Well, we've added a bioperin, which is a trademarked extract of black pepper. This special black pepper has been proven scientifically to enhance bioavailability, which means absorption. So we've done everything we can to make the Strong Bones product super for strong bones, but also to help general aging and to protect the body against other ailments.
Brilliant. So this is a perfect product. Prime 50 is a perfect product for the over 50s.
It's the perfect product, and it's the only brand in the UK that is totally focused on over 50s nutrition.
Brilliant. If you do have any more questions regarding the products and regarding Strong Bones, do comment within the video or email us, or you can find us at the website, which is prime50.co.uk. So, if you want to know more, please comment us, and we look forward to releasing another video next week. Have a great day, everyone.